Another Monday morning, sunshine, rain expected later. Right, from last week, welcome to you, Jeff from the UK, and from over the weekend, Michael from the UK, and Derek from the UK. Welcome aboard to all of you. Empty coffee cup, that's no use to anyone. Power supply for an R1155 receiver. Remember the Lancaster Bomber receiver, R1155. This belongs to a chap, doesn't live too far from me. Hasn't bought the receiver with it. He wants a headphone socket fitted. It's got an internal speaker. This is a power supply and audio amp, and he wanted a headphone socket fitted. I drilled a hole there, fitted it, and wired it up. Job done. Nothing to show you there. Nothing to see here, as they say. Move along. Nothing to see here. So I've just got to put this back together, and that's that done. There we are. Yeah, that's it. That's the members. That's the power supply. What's up on the bench next? I think it's the Defiant. Do you remember I showed you last week the Defiant radio? That's up on the bench next. Yeah, that's the one where it needs speaker grill cloth, and I don't have anything even remotely similar to that, which is a great shame. Not sure what to do about that. It's Tim's radio, and he did say, I'll show you in a minute, he said, could we leave it like that or not? And we both sort of agreed, not really. It doesn't, mind you, looking at it now, I'll get it on the bench in a minute. When it's on the bench over there, I'll drag it, carefully move it over to here. I won't drag it, Tim. And we'll have a closer look at it. So that's that. I'll put the 4 screws back into this. That's an interesting cabinet, this. I don't know where it came from. Got 4 sort of huge wood screws that go up, to hold the top on. Right, let's get this out of the way and move on. This is interesting. I've got it out of the cabinet. That's that speaker cloth. It's very thin. I don't know, it does look bad. How easy it is to replace it. Well, it's not too bad. Little baffle board, with 4 screws. I don't know, I'll speak to someone about that. What's someone done here? It's the usual thing, someone's been at it. That dropper looks a bit, no, that's all right. It's a bit corroded here and there. Look at this mains lead, lethal. The tuning, someone's put a bit of string there. What I've done, I've let's get this terminology right. I've carefully removed the pointer, right? Then you loosen these and you carefully remove that. Now that you have got to be careful with, because the writing on there, this could do with a good clean, but I daren't touch it, because you know what's going to happen, don't you? There won't be any writing there. Now the pointer, let me just show you. I won't show you close up. The pointer goes in there. Okay, so when that turns, it was basically straight on the end of the tuning gang. Now the string that someone's put round there is totally, well, look, the spring's hanging off. Actually, they've only got 1 turn around the spindle. I've got to sort that out first. I can't, there's my box spanner for the, for these nuts. Useful that is. I found that at a car boot sale. That's useful. I saw this chap, he had a load of box spanners, all different sizes, and I thought, I don't know what size these nuts are. And I went back the next week with a pot with a nut on it. I'm trying the box spanners, and I found that one. Of course, the advantage is, even if you've got a long shaft, say that the shaft on the pot is long, you've got the whole length of that, well, and through, because you can see through it, see. Then you can put a screwdriver in there and use it, like a T-piece like that for tightening. Don't know why I'm telling you all that, you know about that. So what I'm going to do is sort this out. It might be that it's just this spring that's come up. That is, hang on, let's have a closer look. Yeah, that's not actually string, that is that proper cord. I think it's just that the spring's come off. I shall get back to you in a nanosecond. I've replaced the cord. It wasn't quite right. Well, that turns properly now. I've done the nuts up there. What I'm going to do, as usual, is on the knot I've done there, on the cord, I'm just going to get the hot glue gun and just put a dab of glue on there, because this nylon, where is it? I've got it here. It's this stuff. Do you remember years ago I got a load of this? It's curtain type. You know these curtains where you've got like two strings hanging down, pull one to open, pull one to close. It's that stuff. I bought a load of it, and it's exactly right. This wants to be a bit thicker than the ordinary stuff we use, so that's perfect. And instead of one turn around the shaft there, the spindle, I've gone around once, twice, yeah, two turn or 2.5 or whatever it is. Also, I've got it the right way, so you know when you turn it to the right, the pointer goes to the right. Turn it to the left, the pointer goes to the left. Turn it back to front. So I'll put a blob of glue on there, then I'll put the front back on and the pointer. Right, that's that. Little bit of glue on there. This, as I say, I won't clean that. That goes back on there. Actually fits behind the two, as I said, the two nuts that hold the pots on. So just give those a little tighten. Just hold that in place. Tighten those two up. Don't need to over tighten things like this. Check that one. That's that. And then the pointer, obviously get the tuning gang right at one end like there. That should just fit nicely in there. And then if you can see that, there we are, look. Pointer should go all the way that way. Just adjust that slightly, then all the way that way. That's it. The next thing I'm going to do is the mains lead, because I can't work on the radio with the mains lead like that. So that's it. Right, let's move. And this also, the two wires to that's all crumbling to the little bowl holder there. That's all got to be replaced. The aerial wires all falling apart. So okay, let's plod on. Right, it's working. That's Radio 4, long wave. BBC Radio 4. New mains lead. Rewired the dial light. Dial drive cord's done. Still a lot to do to it. It's humming, so smoothing capacitors aren't good. I haven't put a dial light bulb in. I don't know what voltage it is. I don't know what model this is. It doesn't. That's the trouble with these Defiant. What's this say? Oh look, model MSH248. There, I lied. It does say. That's good. I was thinking it's 21st on Friday. Is it this Friday? The longest day. Surely, let's turn that off. Surely the longest day is the middle of summer, isn't it? 21st of June is the longest day. That's got to be when the sun's at its highest, blah, blah, blah. And ever since I was a kid, I remember saying it even to my parents when I was about 10. How come, after the 21st, the evenings start to get darker? Because I used to hear adults say, oh, well, the evenings will draw in now, winter's on the way, you know, as they do, moan about the weather, as we do in the UK, to all our friends abroad there. And I still don't understand why, this Friday is, after this Friday, the evenings start drawing in. We haven't had summer yet. We just haven't had it. It's been rain, wind, cold. They even put the heating on the other evening. It was that cold. There we are. No complaining about the weather. Well, you've got to, haven't you? I mean, we're in England. You've got to moan about the weather. What am I doing with this? I haven't done any capacitors on it yet. Just sort of trying to get the obvious stuff done. I think that's the thing to do with the radio. I mean, this, as you know, it did work. I showed you last week. It did work. But look at that chassis. Look. Funny how these chassis are very often warped, or is it on something? Oh no! There's a transformer sticking out the bottom. Look, there's the output transformer, and it comes down lower than the chassis. I mean, who designed that? Oh, I see. It does sit on 4 wooden blocks to keep. Okay, fair enough. So right, I've got to find out the voltage of the bulb. There's switch cleaner coming out the bottom where I've cleaned the volume control. Yeah, so do the obvious things first, like the wiring. You don't want the wiring all shorting out while you're working on the radio. So yes, that's the next thing. Capacitors and whatever else. I can't remember what I said. Right, what am I doing? This radio is now, I think it's done. I've had to rewire the dropper because this old rubber insulation, rubber covered wire You just move it slightly, the whole thing cracks and all falls off. So I've redone that. Capacity, yeah, I've done all the bits and pieces to it, and then I just spent half an hour and I made this. Right. You hear that? Oh dear, I messed it up. There we are. Have a look at the video clip. These iambic keys are so expensive. I saw one the other day, £500. And I thought, I'm not spending that on a Morse key. I mean, right, they're on a nice marble base and they're all precision engineered and brass and whatever, but I don't know. Have a look at my one. This cost, well, the electronics. The key itself was £2 something for the two steel rulers. Have a look at the clip. Right, this is my, don't laugh, this is my key. Okay, so you've got the dashes that side, dots that side. It's not funny. So if you're calling CQ, for example, then my call sign would be okay. That's the electronics. There's a little speaker there, the speed controller. Got it on a PP3 battery at the moment. So there we are. I mean, that is good enough. You could actually use that on the radio, you know, to have contacts with people. It takes a bit of getting used to. I used to use a proper iambic key many decades ago, but this, yeah, that was quite easy. But this one does take a bit of getting used to. So, yeah. That's the idea. Is on the straight key you're doing this all the time, it's the wrist action, whereas on this is hardly any movement, just your finger and thumb, you know. So yeah, so I'd send my name to whoever I'm talking to, which would be my QTH would be that's it. Yeah, it does take some getting used to. I mean, I've only done this for fun, just to show that the electronics works, you know. It's, you saw on the clip, it's two, oops, got a mind of its own, two steel rulers just bent in the vise. Anyway, there we are. That's what this is all about, this keying business. There we are. So that's it. Right, let's get back to some proper vintage radio work now. Tim's radio's behaving itself here. Nice. Question from Clive. Hello, Clive. Clive's restored a radio, capacitors, everything, mains lead, blah blah blah, and he said it's got this like on the S's, S'ing or whatever they call it, you know, where it's and he says, yeah, he's done everything. Tone correction, capacitor's been replaced. There's no tone control on this one, but he's increased the value of the tone correction capacitor. That's across the primary of the output transformer, normally a 0.01. He's 0.047 in, and it's taken down the top, but there's still this on the S's like that. What is it, he says, what can I try next? I'll tell you what it probably is, Clive, and let me know. I've actually emailed him, so I'm waiting for the reply. He's going to let me know whether this was the problem or not. It's probably IF alignment. Very often people have had a twiddle. You get one of the IFs or several of them off frequency, it can emphasize a like that, and that's probably the problem. He hasn't touched the alignment, he said, so he's going to check that. Just go through each one and make sure it's. I'm just waiting to hear back from him. So yeah, that's an interesting one. I have had that before, and it's, I think just about every time it's been down to IF alignment. So just a thought there. If you get that, just try. I was going to say try twiddling. Now don't twiddle the IFs. Do it properly. As I've said before, if you've got no signal generator or test equipment, get the correct alignment tool, not a screwdriver, the correct alignment tool, and just try each IF core, each slug, little adjustment. Remember where the original starting position was. You know, half a turn that way and back, half a turn that way and back. See what difference it makes. It might bring up the volume, it might take the volume down either side of your twiddling. So in that case, leave well alone. So just waiting to hear back from Clive. Right, before I forget, welcome to you, William. Let's turn this radio off. Welcome to you, William. Welcome aboard from the UK, new member. That's good. What I do I try to do all the members on a Monday morning, first thing when the video starts. But of course, as people join during the week, I will mention as they join, but then do it all again on Monday morning, if you see what I mean. I've just heard back from Clive. That was quick. It was only an hour ago. I just heard back, and he's gone through the alignment, and it solved the problem. Excellent. Well done, Clive. So that's good. And he said he's done it properly with the signal generator. None of the IF little slugs, the little dust iron cores, none were seized up. And in fact, he said in his email, it looks like they've been twiddled before, because sometimes they used to drop sort of molten wax down at the factory, align it or drop the wax down. And he said the wax had all been sort of dug out. So well done, Clive. That's that problem solved. What am I doing next? You know, I did the Pi P75, which is there on test. I've had another one come in, exactly the same, so I'll be looking at that one next. This was frightening. I'm just listening to this, a programme on BBC Radio 5 Live. Suddenly, barely there, an interference. I thought, no, the radio's gone wrong. It can't. You know why? I put the back on. Anyway, I thought, okay, let's try long wave. That interference is dreadful.
He tapped me on the shoulder and he said,
Perfect.
"You're a girl, go to home."
Back to medium wave. Let's go down here.
I went to Derby and got them
No
promoted
problem.
to
There we are. It's them. It's the transmitter. There it is. Barely hear it. That buzzing, I don't know what it is. It ruins my amateur radio hobby. All over the shortwave amateur band, well, everywhere over shortwave, not just the amateur bands, broadcast bands as well, everywhere. Buzzing, crackling, whistle. It wipes everything out. I don't know what it is. There are so many things these days that I just, I don't even hazard a guess as to what it is. Could be anything. But there we are. I think this comes from, does it come from Brookman's Park? 5 Live? No, I think this comes from Shoreham, near to me. Anyway, there's a problem with the transmitter. There's me thinking the radio's packed up. Right, another Pi P75. Classic fault. Hear that? You're tuning in to your station. I normally make the sound effects and I don't have to now. Right. You know what that is, don't you? IF decoupling. If I slap a capacitor across the... Okay. Yeah. Perfect. Take the decoupling capacitor off. So that's it. The only thing is, change glasses, old age. The only thing is, someone's put here, I haven't checked the circuit, someone's put a big capacitor. What is that capacitor? I can't see what it is. They put it from one of the pins on the IF amplifier valve, electrolytic to earth. I'm not sure whether that should be there. This is one of the times when you do have to check the circuit diagram. I'm going to get that up on screen in a second, see what's going on. Someone's also added another capacitor here. Doesn't look good. So Pi P75, there we are. This is the 75, isn't it? 75A. Ah, now I don't know the difference. Someone's replaced another capacitor. Radio spares, electrolytics they've put in. Wonder why. Let me just check to see what that is. See which valve pin that is. That's the one I've decoupled. Right, there's a 2 microfarad electrolytic which is on the circuit, but the circuit is different to the chassis. I have this with the P75 and the P75A, both circuits of which I have, the radios are different. you know, I don't understand what. I reckon that what they've done is they've modified and modified, and there might be an amendment to the circuit diagram which I haven't got. But someone's put a radio spares 2 microfarad at 500 volts electrolytic in there under a capacitor clip, so it looks like there was one. When I look on the circuit, that capacitor goes somewhere else completely. So I've taken out, all it is a bit of extra HT smoothing somewhere. I've taken it out, I've decoupled the IF stage.
Before that,
The radio's fine.
questions to one of the lucky ones still in the race.
So, well, I'm going to leave it on test for a while. What it is, this chap, he, I think, yes, this is the one. He was a radio TV engineer, been out of the game a long time. And he said it's IF, you know, capacitors whistling with IF, etc. The thing is the quote, I mean, it needs other work doing to it. Yeah, I don't know quite. I mean, it needs a complete overhaul, really. I'm going to have to get on to him and see what we're going to do, see where we're going to go. Tim's is there, that's behaving itself. I've just had a chassis. Oh, I'll show you this chassis, hang on. This has just turned up in the post. Absolutely filthy. This here, the nut and bolt seems to have gone. This on the front here is all bent. I don't know what's happened. Everything's bent. It's covered in dust. Absolutely covered. It's a DAC 90. And all I've got with it on the outside of the box of the parcel was a name and address. No phone number, no email, no contact details. I don't know who it's from. I mean, someone might have phoned me at some stage and said, can I send you a chassis to look at? And I probably said yes. But that's it. No other info at all. So look at the dust on the speaker. I mean, whoever it was could have just taken it outside and dusted it off a bit, but still. So I don't know. I don't know what it's. I can't contact anyone. Oh, I've just noticed. There's wires cut off here. Where's the loop aerial? Someone's cut it off. Look, there's the 3 wires cut off. This is I don't know. What else has happened? I dread to think. So someone's. You know what it was? I reckon you know what it was. They couldn't get it out of the cabinet. They couldn't remove the. You know, there's a 4BA little countersunk bolt and nut. The side of the cabinet on the DAC 90. I reckon they couldn't undo that or whatever, so they just cut the wires and pulled the chassis out and left the aerial in there. I don't know. But why is this hanging off? In my, you know, I said I'm not winding down, but you know, I said I'm sort of not taking on certain things. Well, I've a good mind not to do this one. I've a good mind when whoever it is does contact me, just to say, sorry, it's a mess, I'm not doing that one. You know me, don't you? I'll say, oh yes, all right, I'll do that for you. Bit like record players. I don't do record players, but no, not anymore. So I don't know who that belongs to. Well, I do a name and address. I suppose I have to write. I've done that before. I've had to send a postcard to someone. Your radio has arrived. Can you give me a phone number, an email? Right. I know who this belongs to, and I have email so I can contact him at least. And now for something completely different. Output power meter. I've got a Marconi output power meter here. Cost me £5, would you believe? Years and years ago. Yeah, £5. There we are. Stuart, hello Stuart, has asked about it, and I thought I'd make a little video clip rather than explain it in email to Stuart, which, you know, is easy to see something. So I shall show you this video clip. Have a look at this. Okay, I hope that's clear. Can you see that all right? Right, this is the output power meter. This side is impedance, all right? Shadow's not very good camera angle. So if you want 3 ohms, I don't know whether you can see, this is 25, 30, 40, 50, 60, round to 200. This is the multiplier. So 0.1, okay, on the 30 position is 3 ohms, all right? You see that? So you would read that as 2.53 4, 5, round to 20 ohms. Put this on 1, then these become the true figures. That will be 30 ohms up to 200 ohms. Okay, put it on 10, then that will be 400 ohms, you know, blah blah blah. You can see that. So leave it on 0.1. I always leave it on that setting for a 3 ohm speaker, 0.1. That makes that not 30, makes it 3 ohms. Okay, so if you want 15 ohms, you'd put it here, 0.1 and 15. Okay, 15 times 0.1, sorry, 150 times 0.1 is 15. That's that side of thing. This side is the meter. Now, I've never used the decibels. There's no point in using that. I mean, basically, this is a double. You probably can't see under there because of the shadow. This is a double pointed type control. All right. What I do is leave it on 1. So then this is true reading in watts here, right? In milliwatts. So that is up to 50 milliwatts. And the thing to do when you're using this for alignment, so you set this, I leave it on 50 milliwatts because most manuals and that will say set the meter to 50 milliwatts, so I just leave it there. It doesn't, to be honest, it doesn't matter what this reads. You are looking for alignment, you're looking for a peak, right? You want to get the speaker impedance correct, obviously, but on the meter you're looking for a peak. You're aligning the tuned circuits and you want maximum on the meter. And all I do is, I won't go through alignment because we've done all that. If the meter's right round the stop, turn the output from the signal generator, turn that down. So you get the meter back here. Carry on tuning for a peak. And again, if it goes round the stop, output on the signal generator, turn that down until you've got maximum. And that's it. These two just connect to the speaker connections of the radio. Disconnect the internal speaker and connect these, otherwise you'll have the impedance all messed up, and also you'll have that dreadful noise from the signal generator through the internal speaker. So that's all it is. There's nothing complicated about it. That is purely impedance side, and here is the meter reading. As I say, forget the decibels. Well, you can use that if you want. You've got plus 20, plus 10, minus, I can't read this because of the shadow, then 0 and then minus 10. All the manuals will say set the meter to 50 milliwatts. So basically that's it. All you're using it for, well, all I use it for, is simply an indication as to audio level out of the radio. That's all. Audio level out of the radio. Once you set it, I mean, I leave it on 3 ohms, 3 ohm impedance. I leave the multiplier on 1, so the meter reads 50 milliwatts. Don't go and wind the signal generator output right up, because you might damage the meter. If it swings over hard, you might damage the meter. Start with the signal generator right the way down, then turn it up, get yourself a reading, okay, then peak up your tuned circuits, turn the signal generator down a bit once the meter's reached 50, twiddle your tuned circuits, turn the sig genny down, you know what I mean? So that's it. I just leave, all I do is I just grab the leads here, croc clips on them, stick them on the audio output transformer in the radio, and twiddle away on the alignment. Well, not twiddle away, realign the tuned circuits correctly with the correct tool, don't forget. I mean, you can, if you want to start using this to see to see what sort of power is coming out of an amplifier, then that's different. Then you will have to use the meter multiplier, take that to 5 watts or whatever it is you're doing. But in our case, leave it on direct reading, 0 to 50 milliwatts. A lot of people over the years have said, do you use all this test equipment? Well, yes, I use that when I do the alignment, the sig genny, and the frequency counter, so I know what signal generators set correctly. The audio amp, my test amplifier up here, that's an old record player valve amp in there. That I used the other day, as you saw, on a Pi P75. The other bits and pieces here, what have I got? Audio signal generator, a valve voltmeter, oscilloscope. Yes, I do use them, but not very often, and even less so here. distortion analyzer, all this stuff. I think I've said before, it's nice to have the equipment. Now that's the oscilloscope I'm using at the moment, and I don't think I've used that since I first got it. Only to show you. Do you remember I showed you how it operated? I don't use that one anymore, and I've got another one on the floor over there that's just been given to me. I won't get rid of any of this stuff because it's nice to have. But when people say, "Oh, do you use it all?" No, I don't use it all the time. I might use an oscilloscope once every 2-3 months. Perhaps only 3 times a year do I use an oscilloscope. Just don't need it. I'm getting on with the radio. You know what I'm going to say, don't you? Capacitors, mains lead, blah blah blah. I want to write a book. How to restore a vintage valve radio. Replace capacitors of the mains lead, blah blah blah. That's it. Like a 1-sentence book. I mean, obviously there's a lot more to it than that. I had a chap the other day, he said, if I join the members area, he said, I've just got a radio from a boot sale, know nothing about radio. If I join your members area, how long will it take me before I can fully restore the radio I bought? Which doesn't work, by the way. Well, there's a question. I don't know. You can't answer that. Can't answer it. As I've said before, I've been doing this since I was 15. I'm now 68. And I'm still learning. You never stop learning. How long will it take someone that's never even looked at a chassis but take the back off a radio before? I don't know. Perhaps after a few months, if he's really studying it and he's sort of that way inclined, if you see what I mean, he'll pick it all up very quickly. It's like driving, a driving test. I mean, some people take to driving like a duck to water, as they say. Other people take the test 12, 15 times, still can't do it, and they just give up. There's something, and Morse code. I've known people that have desperately wanted to get their full license. This is in the old days when you had to do the Morse test, and they couldn't do it. They just, I've tried to help them. They can't do Morse code. There's something here that blocks it. I don't know. Like people that are tone deaf musically. Anyway, I'm waffling now. Right, shall we end the video here? I think it's about half an hour this time. Half an hour of waffle. As my friend used to say, inane drivel. No, I hope it's not inane drivel. I hope you're learning something from all this. I've got to contact this bloke. Right, a quick think as always, and I shall be back in a split nanosecond. Well, I tell you what, I've just been outside in the garden. It's Friday, the sun's shining, it's a lovely day, so I'm going to finish early. I know it, oh dear, I'm not going to tell you what time it is rather early, but I'm going to finish for the week and go out into the garden. I won't sit in the sun, I don't do that. I'll probably sort aerials out. I don't know, I'm always sorting out aerials, but there we are. So next week, I will just contact this chap first and say, what are we going to do with this? Do you want to spend a couple of £1,000 on it or not? So I shall see you next week, and there's warmer weather coming in. Now don't forget, when you're watching this on Monday, I'm at now, last Friday, so the weekend hasn't come yet. Let's hope it was good. I hope you're now saying, oh, it was a brilliant weekend. See you next week. Bye-bye.